Princess Leonor's most emotional moment caught on camera. There are moments in royal history that feel carefully staged, perfect smiles, elegant waves, and speeches written with precision. But every once in a while, the world witnesses something different. Something real. Something deeply human. That is exactly what happened when the future Queen of experienced one of the most emotional moments of her young life in front of cameras. For a brief second, the carefully composed image of royalty faded. The crown, the titles, the expectations, all of it seemed to disappear. What the world saw instead was a young woman carrying enormous responsibility, feeling the weight of history, and trying to remain strong under the gaze of millions. And that moment, captured on camera, touched people around the world. But what exactly happened? Why did it become such a powerful moment for royal watchers? And what does it reveal about the future Queen of Spain? Stay with us until the end, because the full story behind Princess Leonor's most emotional moment reveals far more about her character, her journey, and her destiny than many people realize. And if you enjoy stories like this, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss the next royal update. The young princess the world is watching. Before we talk about that emotional moment, it's important to understand who Princess Leonor is and why so many people are fascinated by her. Born on October 31, 2005, Princess Leonor is the eldest daughter of an. From the moment she was born, her life was destined to be unlike that of almost any other teenager in the world. Leonor holds the title Princess of Asturias, the traditional title given to the heir to the Spanish throne. One day, she will become the Queen of Spain. But that future comes with enormous expectations. Every public appearance, every speech, every gesture is carefully observed, not just by the Spanish public but by royal watchers across the globe. Yet despite the pressure, Leonor has developed a reputation for something rare in royal circles: quiet strength. She speaks several languages, including Spanish, English, and Catalan. She has studied abroad, including time at IN, where she lived like a regular student alongside peers from around the world. But even while living that relatively normal life, she knew something important. Her destiny was waiting, the weight of the crown. Being the future monarch of Spain is not just about ceremony or appearances. It is about representing a nation with a long and complicated history. The Spanish monarchy has experienced triumphs and crises, from political challenges to moments of public scrutiny. Over time, the royal family has had to rebuild trust and redefine its role in modern society. And much of that future now rests on Princess Leonor's shoulders. For years, her father, King Felipe VI, has been carefully guiding her preparation. Public appearances increased gradually. Speeches became more frequent. Royal duties slowly expanded. Each step was part of a carefully designed path. A path that would eventually lead to the moment when she would officially step forward as the future of the monarchy. And that moment would become one of the most emotional events ever captured on camera. The speech that changed everything. In 2019, Princess Leonor delivered a speech at one of Spain's most prestigious annual events. For Leonor, the moment was historic. It was her first major public speech. Standing before a distinguished audience that included political leaders, cultural icons, and international guests, the young princess faced enormous pressure. Millions of people were watching. Television cameras captured every movement. And beside her sat her father, King Felipe VI, the man who once stood in that same position years earlier as heir to the throne. The symbolism was powerful. For many Spaniards, this moment represented a passing of responsibility from one generation to the next. But for Leonor, it was something even more personal. A moment of emotion. As Princess Leonor began her speech, she appeared calm and composed. Her voice was steady. Her posture was confident. She spoke about culture, science, and the achievements of the award winners. She honored Spain's traditions and expressed admiration for those who contribute to society. But as she continued speaking, something subtle changed. Observers noticed the emotion in her eyes. The moment she mentioned her father, the king, her voice softened slightly. She spoke about how he had once stood in that same position decades earlier. She acknowledged the responsibility she would one day inherit. And for a brief moment, cameras captured something incredibly powerful. Her eyes shimmered with emotion. It was not dramatic. It was not exaggerated. But it was unmistakably real. The internet reacts. Within hours, clips of the speech spread across social media. People began sharing the moment when Leonor's emotions became visible. Many viewers said the same thing. They were deeply moved. Royal commentators praised her composure. They noted that despite her age, she handled the enormous pressure with dignity and grace. Others focused on something more human. They saw not just a princess, but a young woman realizing the magnitude of her future. For many viewers, that small emotional moment made Leonor more relatable than ever before. The bond between father and daughter. Another detail that made the moment so touching was the relationship between Leonor and her father, King Felipe VI. Throughout the speech, the king watched his daughter with visible pride. Cameras occasionally cut to his reaction. His expression said everything. It was the look of a father watching his child step into a role that would define her life. But it was also the look of a king watching the future of the monarchy standing before him. When Leonor finished speaking, the applause was immediate and powerful. And for a moment, the entire room seemed to recognize that they had witnessed something historic. Why the moment meant so much? For many Spaniards, Princess Leonor's emotional moment symbolized something larger than just a speech. It represented continuity. The Spanish monarchy has faced criticism and challenges in recent decades. Public trust has fluctuated, and debates about the monarchy's role continue. But moments like this remind people why the institution still matters to many. Leonor's sincerity, youth, and sense of duty offer a vision of the monarchy's future. A future that feels more modern, more transparent, and perhaps more connected to ordinary people. Growing up in the spotlight. Despite moments of vulnerability, Princess Leonor has continued to grow into her role with remarkable maturity. After finishing her studies in Wales, she began a new chapter of preparation, military training. This training is part of a long-standing tradition for Spanish monarchs. Future kings, and now future queens, must understand the country's armed forces and the responsibilities of leadership. Leonor began her training at the inn, where she joined other cadets in rigorous programs that include physical endurance, leadership exercises, and strategic education. Once again, cameras followed her journey. But this time, the world saw something different. Not a nervous teenager giving her first speech, but a confident young woman stepping closer to the throne. The human side of royalty. One reason Princess Leonor's emotional moment resonated so strongly is because it revealed something rarely seen in royal life: authenticity. Royal families often appear distant, protected by protocol and tradition. But when Leonor's emotions surfaced during that speech, viewers saw a glimpse behind the royal image. They saw courage, they saw vulnerability, and they saw the reality of a young woman preparing to carry an entire nation's expectations. Moments like that remind people that behind every crown is a human being. A generation watching her rise. Princess Leonor represents a new generation of royalty. Unlike previous monarchs, she has grown up in the age of smartphones, social media, and constant digital scrutiny. Every gesture can be recorded. Every moment can become viral. This reality creates challenges, but also opportunities. Leonor's generation values authenticity, transparency, and connection. If she continues to show the sincerity that people saw during that emotional speech, she could reshape how modern monarchy is perceived. The future Queen of Spain. One day, Princess Leonor will become Queen Leonor of Spain. When that day arrives, historians may look back at moments like the one captured during the Princess of Asturias Awards and see them as early glimpses of her leadership. That speech showed courage. It showed humility. And perhaps most importantly, it showed that Leonor understands the emotional responsibility that comes with the crown. Not everyone who inherits power recognizes the weight of it. But that moment suggested Leonor does. Why the cameras couldn't look away. The reason the world continues to talk about that emotional moment is simple. It felt genuine. In an era where public appearances are often carefully scripted, authenticity stands out. Leonor didn't plan to show emotion. She didn't attempt to create a dramatic moment. It simply happened. And because it was real, people connected with it. A princess becoming a leader. Since that speech, Princess Leonor has continued to take on more responsibilities. She participates in national events, represents Spain abroad, and supports cultural initiatives. Each appearance helps prepare her for the day she will lead the monarchy. But even as her responsibilities grow, many people still remember that emotional moment. Because it revealed something important about the future queen. Strength and sensitivity can exist together. The legacy she is building. Every monarch eventually defines their legacy. Some are remembered for political influence. Others for social reforms or cultural contributions. Princess Leonor's legacy is still unwritten. But moments like the one captured on camera suggest she may become a leader who connects deeply with the people she represents. A leader who understands that duty is not just about tradition, it is about empathy. The moment that stayed with the world. Years from now, there will likely be many historic events involving Princess Leonor. State visits, diplomatic speeches, perhaps even her coronation. But sometimes the moments that stay with people are the simplest ones. A young princess standing before a crowd. A brief flicker of emotion. A realization of destiny. And millions of people witnessing the exact moment she understood the responsibility ahead. If you enjoyed learning about Princess Leonor's most emotional moment caught on camera, make sure you watch until the end of this video and subscribe to the channel for more fascinating royal stories, hidden moments, and updates about the future Queen of Spain. Because the journey of Princess Leonor is only just beginning, and the most important chapters are still ahead. Crown.